Hello and welcome. This video assumes that you have already watched the 101 and 202 videos of this video series. In this video, we want to enable our program to take input from the user. At this point, I strongly suggest that you read page 7A-1 of the green textbook. This is an appendix to chapter 7. I am starting this video with the code that I ended video 202 with. I rename my file and my driver class to be rectangle303 input. Quick reminder, driver classes and file names are discussed in the 101 video. The first thing I want to do is import the scanner package. The Java I/O package will let me accept input from the user, and some people might say to use I/O or scanner, but not both. But since this is my video, I'm going to do it my way. To import the package, I go to line 7 and add the line import java.util.scanner. Be sure you put a semicolon at the end of the line. Quick reminder, importing packages is discussed in the 101 video. At the end of the 202 video, our code had 5 main videos, but 3 of them were basic: height, base, and depth. The values for these were determined within the code. We could say that they were hardwired. To make our program more useful, we want our user to be able to input the height, base, and depth, and we want to calculate area and volume based on the user's inputs. To do this, we will make a method that will let the user input values for the base, height, and depth variables of our box. To get started, I go to the list of variables that I've created in the rectangle class. At line 33, I create a variable called stdin, which I'll call standard in. This variable is of type scanner. I can use this type because I imported the scanner package. It is important to note that this variable is actually a class, which means that it has its own built-in functions that I can call upon to do things. Next, I'm going to add code at line 37. This line effectively turns on the standard in variable so that it can call its built-in methods. Specifically, now the standard in class can call methods like nextLine to get text from the user and nextFloat to get float numbers from the user. You'll see this in action in just a second. Please also note that I'm now within the app main method. I declared the standard in variable in the rectangle class outside of any methods. I did this so that anything in the rectangle class can see the standard in variable. However, I had to turn on the standard in class within a method in order to get it to work for me. Next, let's go down to line 78 and make some white space where we can create a method called getDimensions. Please notice that my new method is outside the brackets of any other method, but before the closing brackets of the rectangle class. So, at line 79, I type my new method declaration. On line 80, I type my opening bracket, and on line 82, I type my closing bracket. Anything within these brackets is part of the getDimensions method. At line 81, I wrote a system.out.println that will prompt the user to input the height. At line 82, I wrote code to accept a floating point number from the user. So here I'm calling a method called nextFloat from the standard in variable, which is an object of type scanner. For now, just know that once the user inputs a float value and hits enter, it will assign that value to the height variable. The next thing I want to do is to output the new value for height that the user has input. At line 83, I use a system.out.println to tell the user that we successfully received the value they input and we have assigned it to the height variable. Now I want to add some lines for the base and depth variables. Here is the code to get the base variable. As you can see, I did not retype everything. I simply copy and pasted and changed the height to base. I'll do the same for depth. To make this code work, we need to create a method call. In this case, we want to call the method in our driver method. So we go up to app main, and at line 44, we will call the getDimensions method. And then on line 45, we will call the showVolume method. Let's hit the green button to compile our code, and then the red Running Man button to run our code. And now you will notice that the program does not say operation complete. The prompt is blinking. It is inviting me to input something. Let's just say that I want the new height to be 100. I'll input 100 and hit enter. The program has read the value I input and has output that value back to the screen. Let's now input the values 200 and 300 as our values for base and depth. So if you scroll through the output, you can see that the first time app main called showArea and showVolume. These methods ran with the pre-assigned values of 2, 3, and 4. However, once I ran the getDimensions method, line 44 of the code, the values for height, base, and depth were now changed to what the user had input at the prompt. And when I ran the showVolume method for a second time, the volume was calculated based on the user's input. This is the end of the 303 video. Please write to me if you have any questions.